And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, back to the Valley of the Judged. I am your one and only gaming monk, better known as Mildra, and with me is my good brother here in the temple, the man who is the master of the Fistiverse, good brother Joel.
As well as me, Mildra.
Now, unfortunately, Doku is out of town, so he will not be able to make it.
Tragic. We'll miss you, Doku.
But we are back. Regardless of that, we are back once again with more of Night. And I realize we were a bit late. It is a combination of a comedy of errors on all of our parts.
Does happen.
But after covering the opposition last week, which I know you had to step out early, but I think
one of some of it though, and it was really interesting. I love the sheer scale of some of the baddies in this.
As well as the fact that there is a kind of politics between the different villain factions. And all of them have certain rules that they have to abide by.
Yeah, that's really nice. They have something. It's not like a code of honor, but it is a set of principles that is. It's really fascinating.
It's almost like a rules of competition.
Yeah.
Like if you got two people involved in some sort of sport or something like that, there's some referee, or as it was originally referred to in basketball, a judge of the men.
Judge of the men. I like that.
Which kind of implies that referees were always trash in professional sports.
Well, I mean, anyway, but we're getting sidetracked. What are we doing tonight, Mildra?
So tonight we are doing opposing forces and Bestiary. Now,
right. So explain it, because we've already kind of gotten like the really big bad guys, right? So now we have two other takes on bad guys with opposing forces and bestiary. Explain to me the nuance here. What are all these chapters doing? It requires all three of them.
So the Abyss, Overlords, and Anathema, the segments we went over last week, were more about um the fluff of the different monstrous factions. Opposing forces are other factions within the world of Night that aren't necessarily on the side of the Abyss, but they're also not friends of Avalon either. That is what opposing forces are going to be. This is some of those factions we've kind of hinted at in this series. And of course, the Bestiary is exactly what you think it is. But
Okay, well that at least I now, and now our audience as well, kind of understands the function of all of these things.
yeah,
Which one are we doing first? Are we doing the monsters or the bad guys? Because they
we're
both
doing
sound really
we're doing
fascinating.
opposing forces first, since that's the chapter that is naturally next.
Hell yeah! All right, I'm in. I'm locked the heck in. Let
All
me go
right.
pee real quick. Kidding. I'm
So
kidding. I was kidding.
so the first one we have is the Nodachi. They started out as a private security company in 2016 by Kaneda Technologies, uh, became a world leader in robotics and cybernetics, and then became, at first, a private army, so basically a PMC, and then kind of became the new Japanese army.
Hell yeah!
Uh, they have a hit hard, hit fast wherever the enemy's weakest, and no sense of fair play.
I mean, that's war for you, right?
And something to remember is that Japan was one of the last big holdouts when it came to the organization known as the Asian Dragon, which was this conglomerate of several nations across East Asia.
Yes, yes.
Uh, and during the Tanjobi, a national holiday in Japan, the Nodachi's approach to dealing with the Asian Dragon as part of that conflict in 2033 was, quote, assassinating the heads of the Union's governments, kidnapping their families, striking their infrastructure, so hospitals, communications, power, transport, showering their enemies with chemical weapons that swiftly dissolved weapons, protective gear, flesh, and bone.
Oh my god.
It took them less than 24 hours to cripple a vastly larger opponent while it was still trying to mobilize its millions of soldiers and vehicles.
Oof. All right, so yeah, strike fast, strike hard, no mercy, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Now, they did have access to advanced equipments thanks to ties with Kaneda Technologies.
Got it up. Anyway,
Uh,
upward limit of that I
and
can do a week, and I actually made a character based off of Tetsuo, so I can only do it like one more time. I don't want to blow it yet.
mm-hmm. uh, and while they do have things like optic camouflage, assault armor, and the like, as well as some very advanced weaponry, their most well-armed operative is still a step below a fully trained meta armor user.
Yeah, I feel like meta armor kind of sets itself totally apart,
Mm-hmm.
you know? So these
That
guys could be interesting as allies or as rivals, but I doubt, like, one-on-one it's going to be much of a combat.
well, have you ever heard the expression "even a brick can fly if you throw it hard enough"?
No, but I love it. That's great.
Oh, look at the F-14. That's basically a rocket with wings.
Well, you're
And I
not
say
wrong.
that because one managed to fly and land after losing one of its wings.
I
Like
didn't know that. That's impressive and terrifying.
not even fly for a little bit. It flew for several miles before it found the spot where it could just land. Uh, it had a close call and one of the wings went off. Not
Jeez.
damaged, just gone.
Oof.
But
Just imagine that call back to the tower. You're still flying through the sky. Your wing is completely gone. You're like, control. We've got a situation up here.
I'll have to tell you about some of the crazy ass control stories that involve the Blackbird, because that thing has. It was a troll before it got made, and it was a troll during its entire service life, and it's even trolling after retirement.
That's beautiful. Absolutely gorgeous.
But point is, yes, in a one-on-one, a Nodachi agent would probably lose against a knight. But remember, the Nodachi have no concept of fair play. Uh, and they they cl they claim to have a sense of honor and claim to follow the way of the Bushido. And there's a certain irony that despite how far they go, the Nodachi's troops believe that their moral values have earned them respect in the world, which is certainly the case in Japan, but the rest of the world has mixed attitudes about the Nodachi.
I think Japan's pretty used to being like in that space, though.
Mm,
Like we did everything that we thought was the right thing to do. Why is everyone mad at us?
yep. But nowadays, their armed forces are number at about 100,000. Um, for what they claim is a civilian is a civilian company. Uh, the their particular version of Bushido places Kaneda technology first, the Emperor second, and Japan third, above all else, even above its laws. Uh, and of course, the founder of Kaneda Technologies, Iwata Kaneda, is one of the immortals, which complicates things even further. But
So, oh man, that is really interesting.
mhm.
Because like if he's one of the immortals, like that means they could kind of work as like a personal police force thing just for him. Like, there's a lot of different angles you could run that with. That's cool.
Mm-hmm. Uh, it and of course, Canada is at the top of the pyramid, um, because of how things went to shit and the fact that Nodachi was winning fights against the Abyss. He was named general by the Japanese government,
Nice.
and Kaneda himself gave himself the title of shogun, because of course he did. Uh,
Yeah, yeah, of course he did.
mm-hmm.
Like that's what you get that kind of military clout in Japan. I mean, obviously, like what else are you gonna do? It's like so you're saying I have a military force almost completely under my direct command, and I'm more or less the de facto ruler, and and I'm in Japan as well as those two things. Ooh,
Mm-hmm.
ooh, there's exactly one title that's benefiting in this situation, isn't there?
Yep. Uh, anytime there's been a fight in the East, the Nodachi are involved in some form. Uh, I'll remind you that one of the overlords' attempt to try and the Flesh's attempt to try and grab territory in India was stopped by the Nodachi, basically nuking the the attempt to death,
Oh wow.
including having some of their own soldiers detonate suicide nukes inside the monster's belly.
I mean, you got to go with what works, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you got a hammer and all that.
Yep. Uh, that being said, when it comes to Avalon, their attitude is respect them, but there's still going to be a degree of unspoken tension. When it comes to the independent states or rejects, they have little care for them. In some cases, calling them parasites. They won't
Nice.
eliminate rejects, but they're also not going to help them. And if any sense of hopelessness is found among rejects, their approach is burn them all. God will know His own.
zone. That's beautiful.
Uh,
I already love these guys.
the attitude towards Avalon can be described as cold. There is a certain rivalry between the two organizations, not full on, and orders are orders, and both Arthur and Canada have made clear to their own followers that they have to maintain their peace for the bigger picture.
Yeah, and I like that. I don't want all the factions to be all chummy chummy. Hey ho, let's get all those bad guys. Like I want them to have complicated, differing goals because it
Hmm.
you can do something with that, right? It's
Hmm.
not just like which flavor of good guy do you want to be in this game. It's like no, you actually have to think about it, right? You have
Yeah,
to think like, okay, if I bring the Japanese guys in, like what does that mean for my game? What does it mean for the setting? Like how are they going to react? How are the players going to react to these guys? How are they going to react to the players? Like I love that. Um,
hmm,
it's far more engaging than
yeah.
like oh more good guys. We're all lawful good here.
And one of the even though they don't have access to something like meta armor, Nodachi has better recruiting. Like the Avalon has to make do with what it can get. Nodachi has much easier time recruiting to the point of by the end of 2038, they are estimated to have about 300,000 agents.
Ooh, goodness.
And in 2 more years, it's estimated that they will double that. They do have access to combat exoskeletons called Kirins, which is almost like is certainly a step above just normal good old fashioned flak, but it's certainly not going to win a one-on-one.
Yeah, but I
So,
mean, with those numbers.
mhm. And of course, because of kind of technologies, they have access to very powerful equipment when it comes to things like robotics, cybernetics, and whatnot. Uh, but then there is the Duskwalkers, who could be described as uh, a loose community of rejects. Remember, rejects are communities that live outside the arcs. And the when it comes to their approach, supposedly they were formed by a former Knight of Avalon. Um, they're a crew of explorers, guides, and messengers that have established a relay network between the reject communities, with a range between France and China.
Okay, that's a big chunk of real estate.
Hmm. Uh, but I wouldn't call the Duskwalkers organized.
Well, yeah, I mean, because that's not really a region that you think of as a cohesive whole, right? That's real patchwork.
Hmm. There's several. They tend to travel between the domains of the beast and the flesh. Even some of the other territories as well. Um, they tend to avoid light for reasons that are kept to them, and have gray skin. But their f-
A
but their
real
focus
stalker vibe from this art.
is very much on supporting reject communities when it comes to being messengers and guides between settlements. Uh, now some of the ways they communicate is through hand signs, and they are they are safer than rejects when it comes to being inside anathema, but not safe. Uh, and their leader Vares supposedly made himself an exile because he led a campaign too far into anathema and created the Knights of Darkness in the process.
Oops.
Mm-hmm.
Oopsie doodles.
Yeah. So one could see the Duskwalkers in the classic Ranger sense, but
No, dude,
it's
I'm getting such stalker vibes from these dudes.
yeah. Although
Like,
although
they look so doomed.
they're in literal hellscapes. We saw what the domains of the overlords look like.
Yeah, not great.
Like
So
I don't think anybody would want to be in, say, the ladies' domain without a meta armor.
yes, I wouldn't even want to be in the ladies' domain with a meta armor. Like, not one I want to tangle with.
Mm-mm. But then there is Nox. Nox is the public-facing organization of the Mask, one of the overlords who, as his name would imply, is all about subterfuge. But if he makes a promise, he has to keep it according to the agreement he has with the judge. You can't see it, but I'm doing air quotes.
I could feel them spiritually.
You know how it is with deals with the devil. They will do what is asked of them.
Yes, it's all written down, nice and neat.
Mm-hmm. So if the mask gives its word that it will do something, it will do it. Of course, there is the problem of interpretation.
Well, I mean, you don't get into a deal with the devil as, like, the god of deception without finding little ways to wriggle around the specifics.
Oh yeah, and there now the Nox was put on the back foot with some of the plagues that hit, especially in the U.S. And just North America in general. Uh, but the but they are right. But the Nox themselves, as well as the Arcs, are in a power struggle between the Mask and the Shadowed Man. Because the Mask made a deal with the people known as the 24 Immortals, that they have a bit of a glamour that lets them sway the hearts and minds of their citizens. Basically that the Immortals appear in the most flattering light possible.
Well, that's kind of cool.
Now there are exceptions, of course, and Nox thought that he had
the one homely guy in the Everybody Is Pretty land. Like, man, I couldn't help but feel very, very singled out.
Yeah, and because of the impact that they have when it comes to the arcs, the corporations aside them, Nox has resources that are pretty much unlimited.
Well, that's useful. So, okay, if they have effectively unlimited resources, what's keeping them from making a lot of the meta armors then? Just like cranking them out? What's the limiting factor there?
I'd say the limiting factor is, for one, alpha element. You actually need to go out and get that, and you have to go into anathema to get it.
Oh, okay.
All the meta armors you want, but getting the right people to pilot them is another matter entirely. If it's not piloted by somebody who has done some sort of great deed or has the right mindset, it just won't work.
Yeah. So you actually do have a real need for heroes and quests.
Mm-hmm.
Just being Uncle Moneybags isn't going to solve. That's good.
Yep.
Again, I love whenever there's like an internal consistency to a setting.
Mm-hmm. So the Illuminati are still present even in 2038. Uh,
Of course they are.
Now they tend to hide in the free territories. Uh, and when things went to shit, a lot of the internal communication that they had went with it. So like a lot of the classic people that you'd think when it comes to the Illuminati are certainly present. Uh, they were the earliest people who knew about the war between Aether and Abyss. Uh, they have attempted to do tactical fuckery to keep the darkness from winning that struggle.
Tactical fuckery, eh?
Uh, and they were also responsible for launching the biological weapon that was supposed to take out the Immortals.
How did that work out for them?
One of them died.
That's pretty good. Even getting one immortal is pretty impressive.
Uh,
I mean, being that they're immortal and all.
yeah. But they were responsible. But their attempt to try and diminish the powers of Nox resulted in the bioweapon that caused the Red Plague on the East Coast. Uh,
So we got one of you and caused horrific damage.
Mm-hmm.
Good job, guys. Well done.
Oh yeah. But even though the Illuminati has a vast amount of knowledge in terms of actual power that they could bring to bear, they are a shadow of themselves. And the Immortals took the approach of just putting huge-ass bounties on every member of the Illuminati that they could identify.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Mm-hmm. One of the more active survivors is Pietra Albade, also known as the revered mother of the Order of Redeeming Light, and has the full support of the church. A big thing is that they've built sanctuaries all around the world.
Around the world, around the world.
Not all of them are churches, but they're clearly designed to protect people from darkness. So plenty of safe spaces across the world, as well as those safe spaces having riddles and clues to deciphering their secrets.
I like that. That feels like one that you could really use, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No one sanctuary holds all the answers, but each one can provide truth seekers with a better grasp of what hangs in the balance. So, the Illuminati here aren't the classical villains we usually see.
Yeah, they seem a lot more nuanced than just a shadowy organization pulling all the strings, you know?
Mm-hmm.
You have a little more depth to them there.
The vibe I get is that they were that for the longest time, and then they saw the full extent of the war between Abyss and Aether, and were like, yeah, the whole world domination thing doesn't seem a high priority anymore.
I mean, like, when you get to the point of wanting to conquer the world, right, or control it from the shadows, you want it to be a world you recognize and like, right? You know, when you've got way bigger fish to fry, it's like,
Hmm.
well, maybe we should reprioritize a little bit until things calm down.
Yeah. And while they're not going to bring armies to bear, they may sneak a hint to defeat something in the hands of somebody else.
Yeah, and that works really well for them, I think. You
Hmm.
know, again, it doesn't really violate my understanding of what the Illuminati's role should be overall. So I think it's a pretty good art. If you're gonna put the Illuminati in a game, you should do something with them that works for the game, right?
Oh
But
yeah.
still kind of retains them.
Hmm.
Uh, I I'm kind of I'm amazed at how much they stuffed into this game. It almost just feels like they simply did not say no to anything that they encountered. Like any idea they had, they're like, you know what, let's do that too.
And that's not even
Having the
getting
Illuminati.
into the stuff that's in the expanded books. Uh, but next, we're going to be going into the Bestiary, which is on
Yeah,
page
Bestiary. Oh my god,
60.
look at that art.
Yep.
Ooh, I'm a total sucker for this exact image. Big scary monster, little heroic guy coming to get it.
Hmm.
Um, Look how they've got a real Rocketeer look for this guy, but man, oh, this is
Hmm.
beautiful art, guys. You got to see this one.
Oh yeah.
Even if you bought this for nothing else, the art and layout make this game just such an absolute joy to look at. It's so pretty.
Hmm.
Yeah, this artist took direction well. Like this guy knew what he was doing.
Yep.
That's breathtaking. I love that.
So when it comes to NPCs and hope, that's a GM distinction. Um, and of course, any creature of the anathema does not have a hope score at all. Uh, when it comes to NPCs that have either exoskeletons or meta armor, um, they get armor points and force fields, as well as exceptional aspects and modules or things like modules. Uh, but if their armor points go down to 0, their equipment is rendered out of order and their perks are lost.
Okay.
Uh, otherwise, NPCs in meta armor work the same way as PCs in them. Uh,
Yeah, and no, I think there needs to be some amount of parity in the rules
mhm.
for that sort of thing. Because I mean, obviously, you could also fight amongst yourselves. Um, I don't imagine the ranks are as closed as they'd like, even
Yeah,
considering the stakes.
but
Um, but that guy
instead,
should have a comparable,
yeah,
powers.
instead of having the overdrives that knights have, NPCs have their equivalent in the form of exceptional aspects. Because they don't roll a skill combo in the same way. Instead of the individual skills being rolled, you have the aspects. You know,
All
the
right.
flesh, the beast, the machine, the lady, and the mask. Uh, and you can have either a minor exceptional aspect or a major exceptional aspect. Uh, in some cases, you could have both from one of them.
Interesting.
But you can kind of see that, like with the serpent for the which is one of the servants of the Ophidian. You see, instead of having the skills set up, they just have the aspects.
Yeah, I see that.
What the exceptional aspect is, and then the substats: defense, reaction, initiative, HP, and shielding. Um,
Yeah, this is a nice, sexy little stat block. This
mhm.
feels very Monster Manual in a good way.
Yeah.
It gives you what you need, and there's no fat, right? I really like these powers.
Hmm.
They are laid out in this wonderful. Here's the name of it. Here's what it does format, which is beautiful. I can say from experience, this sings at the table. Um, and it's all on one page. It's super clean, lovely layout, right next to a big, sexy piece of art. You gotta love it, man.
Hmm.
This is like perfect. You learn the lesson from the monster manual, which is more or less the perfect way of making a monster, uh, you know, bestiary sort of thing.
Yeah.
They learned well.
Hmm.
This has got a very third edition to fifth edition layout that was always beautifully functional at a table. They do a
Yep.
great job with that here. They
Hmm.
they knew what to do, and they were smart enough not to try to reinvent the wheel with it. So I love that.
Yeah,
It's nice and simple.
I've mentioned this before, but one pet peeve I have with the way some people write, there's well two pet peeves that I have when it comes to how
Okay,
people
let's hear
write
it.
bestiaries. One of them is when it's just written as one big blob of text. I know that was a thing in the early days of D&D, but that doesn't mean it has to be a thing now.
It was, but even in the blob of text era, they still had the little stat block, right?
Hmm.
It was formatted for like just being typed on a typewriter, but it was there even in the earliest
Yeah,
editions. So some version of this has existed forever.
yeah. I'm just not keen on when say Exalted was doing that with some of its NPCs or Scion.
Oh god, yeah, don't. I tried to run both of those games, and the reason I hold the opinion that I do about this beautiful like one giant brick
Hmm.
format is because doing it like a bunch of sprawling text over multiple pages, especially in like the Spirit compendiums where they would reference things that didn't appear on any of the nearby pages and sometimes appeared in entirely different books, that was impossible to run. Right? You had
Yeah.
this giant web of messy chunks all over the place that you had to try to scrape back together at the table on the fly when these things came up. That's a
Hmm.
nightmare.
And
So,
I know some, and obviously there's the approach that I have where you could you could pretty much you could pretty much copy the page, then cut it in half, and a good chunk of the work is done. For the
yes.
way I have the bestiary set up in Legend Edition, but
You know, I actually don't know if I've seen your Bestiary Legend Edition. I should pull that up. I've got a
yeah,
copy of that game.
I built the NPC creation system before I built the bestiary. The bestiary is basically 200 pregens. Uh,
Well, you
because
know, that's not a bad way to do it, man.
uh,
Oh my god, I have a copy of the Weston Star Wars TTRPG. When did I get this? Sorry, I'm getting distracted.
yeah, but
I love this game so much. Oh, look at that.
another pet peeve that I have, and this was I saw this a fair bit in say third edition. I've seen some games do it, and I'm not a big fan of it, and that is not separating the narrative part of the text with the crunch part of the text
Mm.
when it comes to describing certain effects.
Yeah, that's really frustrating, and I'm guilty of it myself. I try to do narrative first, crunch after, but
Hmm.
sometimes it'll bleed a little bit. A little
Yeah.
bleed, as long as it doesn't make things unclear, should be fine. But yeah, I'm a big fan of here's the fluff, here's the crunch,
Yeah.
right? Give me the crunch that I need when I need it, please.
I know some people try to romanticize it by saying role playing or something like that, but I'm
There's a
coming at
time and
this.
place for. I
I've
mean,
mentioned this
like,
before, but I once upon a time spent a lot of time studying web usability.
mhm.
And I have frequently cited the books as well as the website of Vincent Flanders. Um, the two books in question, Web Pages That Suck and Son of Web Pages That Suck.
Yeah.
Because his whole thing was showing how to do good web design by showing bad web design in a this is what you don't do kind of way.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah. Oh, what is it? Don't Make Me Think is my Bible for that.
yeah. And
I love that one. That's a
yeah.
great text. And it's really clear because again, role playing games, whenever you're running them, you have to access everything in the moment, right?
There's a reason
So
why I keep bitching at people who don't put indexes in their books.
that's fair cop, fair cop.
Um,
Um, man, you know, I
you can
really need to
blame my
do.
years of with riffs and the terrible navigation in those books for why.
To be fair to the people who don't do that sort of thing,
Hmm.
um, it is its own skill set to do it. So if
Yeah.
you have a limited budget, as we often do in the indie space,
Hmm.
sometimes that limited skill set goes to depth of game design instead of usability. And sometimes, whenever you're trying to put concepts together and trying to lay them out in a logical way, there simply
Hmm.
is no default logical way. You have to choose a logic and stick with it as best as you can. And
Hmm.
sometimes that just means that different parts of the text that reference each other are in significantly different parts of the book, and
Yeah.
that's just what it means with a big enough game.
I will
So
say nowadays the tools are a little bit better. Um,
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, I mean, we've
but
we've had how long has it been since AD&D? Like 40, 50 years? We've had plenty of time to think about this and
I think
refine it.
I think AD&D came out in '79.
Oh my God, is it really that old?
Um, it was either
I forgot
78 or
I was
79.
40 this year.
And the only reason I
I'm looking it up.
think of the
Oh boy.
specific date is because of when I had to read about that one nutcase who claimed that he was consulted on the authenticity of rituals.
I don't. Yeah, that never happened.
It ne Well, not only did it never happen, but he claimed that it happened in 1978. Uh, Except by that point, D&D was already out. AD&D was coming out around that time.
Yeah.
So the time.
Advanced Dungeons and Dragons looks like the very first basic box set was 1977.
All right, so
Oh
I
no,
was
no,
off
I'm
by.
wrong. Yeah, 1977 is AD&D first edition. That's the full edition, and then the basic set was also 77, and then BX came out in 81. Wow, that's
Hmm.
a big jump.
Yeah.
And in 83 they did Beckme, which is a
Hmm.
much smaller jump. Each one of those is such a distinct take on how to run it too.
Yeah.
Um,
Although I think the reason that I see so many people say that they started with BECME is because that was when they actually had national distribution on a more reliable metric.
yeah, Beckme is a lot of old school designers reference Beckme as like the one they cut their teeth on. And if you've played Beckme compared to the other versions, you can see why. But again, I don't want to get too deep into
Yeah.
this rabbit hole.
But
The
well,
point being,
mm,
we've had a long time to iterate on those initial, ideas, and we haven't strayed as far from them as you'd imagined.
mhm.
So,
Now, obviously with the different creatures of anathema, these are on the high end of of adversaries. Uh, though and each of them is some degree of nightmare fuel. I especially the fleshy flora art really shows how deep the whole flesh thing is in the flesh's domain, because it is a tree made of hands and arms and eyes.
I gotta see the art for this thing. All right. What page are
It
you on? I'm gonna scoot over there.
371.
I'm
Like
going.
this kind of fleshy flora, this feels like something I would see I would see
Fleshy flora.
when the Hell Priest is having a bad day.
Yeah.
Um, I have to go with that because apparently Clive Barker hates the name Pinhead.
Well, right, but he even wrote about how Pinhead hates the name Pinhead, but in a way that's kind of funny.
Hmm.
In oh, what was it? Darn, I read this book when I had COVID the last time.
Yeah,
The
and
continuations of that whole saga.
in all fairness, I have a decent amount of respect for Barker when it comes to the horror writers of that era, because I'd say he was
Yeah,
one
I
of the
love Barker.
earliest cases of recognizing the storytelling potential of video games, even to the point where he threatened to get into a fist fight with Roger Ebert over it.
Oh, I would have totally fist fought Roger Ebert with his bullcrap take. I'm not even gonna swear. That's how little. Because
Yeah.
I always my kids come to me and talk to me about video game experiences they've had that you can only describe as art, right? They'll find some indie title and play it, and the way they talk about it is the way people used to talk about paintings, right? Poetry,
Yeah.
epics. I'm sorry, it's art, dipstick. Yeah, you can lose at it. You know what you could also do? You could fail to interpret art correctly, which you did by calling video games not art, you big chungus, you moron.
Um, I remember in the comments of the I think it was either in the Tribune or something else. I had said I respect where he comes from, but do not judge a man unless you've walked a mile in his shoes.
I mean, I always thought Gene Siskel was a way better critic. 'Cause,
Yeah.
like Ebert was also against my boy David Lynch, just because he was personally uncomfortable with what Lynch did. And
Hmm.
it's like, what a moral coward!
Yeah.
What an inflexible dullard! What a
Yeah.
dimwit! What a dope!
I had to skip a few of them because some of them might get me in trouble as far as the visuals for the flesh. Um,
Okay, I'm gonna look at all of them now. I'm not. I'll skip them tastefully, but okay. Very next page. Jesus,
That didn't take long.
it's the next page. This is some Silent Hill stuff here. You know what? We can even name and Flesh Monster by Lionel Prats. Lionel, you know what you did.
Um, I appreciate that he understood the assignments, but also,
Abomination by Lionel Prats. Was this necessary, Lionel? Did I need to know what religion this abomination was? Because I know now.
mm-hmm.
Just a second, my alarm's going off. I'll be right back.
But
That is technically my bedtime
then
alarm, but I'm not sleepy right now.
we have some of the monsters of the machine, uh, as well as the moving city, uh,
Okay. Turn off my
which
alarm,
is
and I got a delicious glass of water.
mhm, which
Okay, yeah, so when he said flesh, he wasn't messing around. He's have plenty of it.
uh-huh. Uh, when it comes to the machine, we have things like the moving cities. A bunch of these cities
I
on
want
the
to see
East
the
Coast
moving
were turned
cities.
into moving platforms.
And my computer is being super slow right now.
Uh,
Children of the Flesh.
and
Okay,
of course, plenty of machine monsters that honestly when I look at them, it is the I don't know why, but I keep getting flashbacks to the film Virus, especially the image on
Oh, that
page
thing's
379.
big. Yeah, that is huge. Look at the size of that guy.
Uh,
No, my mind's polluted by a completely different film. I'm thinking of the Michael Bay Transformers film where something this big had like giant wrecking balls for testicles. Uh, so yeah, it's
and yes, they have machinists, which are basically what would happen if somebody did a nightmare version of servitors from Warhammer 40k, which servitors are already nightmare fuel as it is.
yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
but
No, I like these quite a bit.
uh,
Um,
they show
Also, I
one of
like that they're crediting artists directly under their creations.
mhm.
What's interesting to me is that they've got copyrights. This is copyrighted art from the artist, so that seems legally complicated.
Mhm.
Does that mean they can sell this outside of the book? I
I
would never
don't
have negotiated for that.
I don't know.
Yeah, if it's copyrighted to
Mhm.
them, they should still have legal right to sell that image again. I could have
Yeah.
that show up in one of my books.
Mhm.
Be like, hey, Lionel,
But
I've got a bestiary too, buddy.
we have the for the beast we have things like the predator, which we talked about, um, looking like an anglerfish from hell, which is saying
Yeah,
something
that's really
because
cool. Anglerfish are already
anglerfishes
from hell.
aren't already and just I mentioned this last week, but just deep sea life in general is the stuff of nightmares.
Oh, check out the
Uh,
Leviathan. Woof, that is gorgeous.
hmm
Well, I mean, maybe gorgeous is overselling it. It's haunting.
Yeah,
It's a beautifully constructed piece of artwork.
yeah, and
Wow, that is really something.
I guess he was told the Leviathan is a bunch of animals that have been fused together like a chimera from hell, and that's basically what it is. They're also about 30 feet tall, I guess. Uh,
Yeah, you can see why you'd want to be armored in as much magical robot armor as possible to fight any of these things. Like, man.
I mean, look at their melee weapon damage: 3d6 plus 22.
Boom. Oh,
Uh,
that's mean. Shoot that claw.
yeah.
Spiked tongue. Nice.
hmm
Ignore his armor. Ah.
Yeah.
God, what a monster.
Uh, then things like
Brutal charge.
the monsters of the mask, like the wall, which is a smiling wall that just shows up wherever it feels like it.
Wow, the Final Fantasy vibe is heavy with that one.
Uh, Fortunately, it doesn't try to move. It just blocks you.
Okay.
Uh, mm. The body itself is the mask, which means it can't fight you. Uh, but what it can do is just show up on any flat surface that's there. So imagine being in like a high rise and this thing keeps showing up no matter
Like on
where you.
every floor. Like, oh my god, shut up.
Mm, uh,
Yeah, the mask has a super great theme. This is a really cool bad guy.
oh yeah.
It's not as visceral as the other ones that we've checked out, but man, in terms of iconography, you cannot beat this one. This is fantastic. Everything's got a cool mask.
Hmm.
You've got a just beautifully unified. I love that they can attack your hope.
Hmm.
Like the game has laid a lot of groundwork for the battle, like the mythic battle of the spirit being significant and tangible to the
Hmm.
rules. So the fact that you actually have a villain that outright challenges it is just bloody beautiful. That's such a great payoff for that. These would be a great addition to a game. I would love for this thing to show up in a game.
Oh yeah. Um, they do have some form of monsters in the form of like masked spawns, which it seems that mass spawns are less about are less about having a combat body themselves and more about making do with the environment, because the fuel to make the mask is or the mass monsters is souls, as opposed to human bodies like the flesh or human technology like the machine.
Hmm. Yes, yes.
Uh, and of course the judge. Um, I don't. We're not going to have visual representation of the judge because the judge's avatars are just eyes.
I mean, you could make that. You could
Hmm.
make art of that, but we all know what an eye looks like, right? So,
Yeah.
um, and it looks like this is more of a. And I actually did this in my game with
Hmm.
the representation of Yama, the king of the hell bureaucracy. He doesn't exist in a classical sense. Like you have to like go through this big, long, elaborate ritual, and you don his mask and cloak, and then while someone is he's like a president almost, like he's
Hmm.
more like a title or a role, and so you are Yama while you're in that stuff, and he's you, and then you take it off and he's gone. So he doesn't exist outside of those particular circumstances, and yeah, that's I think that's kind of what this is doing too, where it's like our concept of like a judge doesn't make like physical sense. They don't have like a skill, they don't like make things in a physical
Hmm.
way. They deal with justice, so it's all very abstract and role based. And I think
Oh
that
yeah.
that's what this is going for, and I just think that's neat.
And especially since with each of the avatars, it appears that they take human bodies that are on the cusp of death and remake them into the abyss, remake them into the emissaries of it, uh,
Interesting.
which is in what are referred to as the triarchs, which we have
Ooh.
the protector, uh, the emissary, the archivist, the vigil, the observer, the voice, the executioner, the huntsman, although there's a bit of a typo there, the detective.
The Hunstman.
Yeah, and
Wait,
I
wait.
th-
It could be the Hunstman when you think
yeah,
about it, though, because Hunst.
I think the reason why there's not art for them is to go with this idea of they could look like anybody.
Yeah, I like that quite a bit. I think that that gives them a not an omnipresence, but like the threat, like an omnipresent threat.
Hmm.
And there's something just wonderfully sinister about having that kind of lurking around in your game. Um,
Yeah,
I really like that.
the whole to bring up 40k again because Doku's not here to do it. The whole thing with Alfarius and Omegon, and and why there's the meme of "I am Alfarius." Yes,
Actually, don't know that one. I'm not super versed in 40k lore, so you'll have to unpack that one for
the
me.
the Alpha Legion, the 20th Legion, is very good at spy work, and with a lot of their agents, they fully indoctrinate them into thinking that they are the Primarch Alfarius, and every Alpha Legion Space Marine thinks that they are Alfarius Omegon. The original
Oh,
Alfarius and Omegon were twins, identical twins, and every every Marine thinks that they are Alfarius.
oh man, that's gotta be awkward.
Uh, and they tend to be very, very good at psychological infiltration.
Well, I mean, they've already gaslit themselves pretty effectively, so.
Yeah, basically pulling an I am Spartacus on on steroids, because everybody who's gone through that process believes it. But the approach. Oh, we lost Joel for a moment, and he's back.
I'm back. Yeah, I don't know. It totally dropped me there for a second.
Hmm.
Can you hear me okay?
Oh yeah,
Okay, wow, that was weird.
but
All right, yeah,
the
continue. I was just saying they gaslit themselves very effectively.
mhm. The approach that we have here is anybody could potentially be an agent of the judge, though. Of the judge is one of the few who is not interested in doing any sort of direct conquest themselves, as much as they are in enforcing the rules.
Hmm.
Especially the notion of the the different overlords keeping to their own territories, as well as certain rules that have been put in to punish people who have broken them, like the mask's whole thing of he has to be true to his word. If his word is given, he has to follow through. He and his agents have to follow through on it.
Yeah, see, I love the potential of that quite a bit.
Um,
That feels like something that you'd really want to show up in a game and have the players like interact with on that pure role play level. It's such an exciting concept. Like it feels so rich, you know.
yeah, I think I messed around with that in I'm not. It wasn't Call of Cthulhu, but something in that vein, where they ended up beating the B-Bag not by outfighting him, but by tricking him into breaking the rules.
I like that though. Like I like that a lot.
Especially since one of the I was going on that motif that we often see in fairy tales of supernatural beings have certain rules that they have to follow, and especially if they give their word about something.
Yeah, I like that. Again, that's one of those things. It's one of those things where it there's something of the mythical in it.
Hmm.
There's something kind of deeper than our active psychology, and I don't know. It scratches a certain part of your brain, where you don't. I don't feel like we need to be told that that's the case. That supernatural entities of certain caste have to obey their word. Like we almost just take it for granted. We're like, well, of course that's the case. To the point where if we caught them in a lie and they were like, "Yep, I lied to you," and it didn't matter, it would be like upsetting. Like, what do you mean you lied to me? You can't lie. It's
Hmm.
one of the things that evens the playing field here.
Yeah, I suppose one of the most classic examples of that whole thing of following the rules is the age-old myth of um, no matter how powerful a vampire is, they cannot enter your house unless you let them in.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I like that. Again, it might. I think sometimes it feels a little silly to obey that particular rule. I don't care. I prefer it to feel a little silly because vampires are weird monsters that have like they have a supernatural element to them that's just it's mythological. It's not logical. It's one of the reasons why whenever they like in Blade where they shoot the UV light on the vampires and they start dying, I'm like, ugh, really, guys? Or like, what's that cringy Castlevania Netflix thing where they're like, oh yeah, the
Oh, the whole
straight lines of the cross confuse them, and it's like that isn't. What kind of predator can't see in straight lines? What are you? That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Like, it's clearly because it has religious significance. Why couldn't they enter
Mhm.
holy ground then? Why would holy water work on them?
It's one of those things. It's one of those things where somebody establishes a rule and then doesn't want to follow through on it. I not too long ago I ended up reading the structure arc from Moon Knight's recent run, where at the I'm not going to go into the whole thing, but at the climax he reminds the head vampire, "I'm not a hero. I'm a priest." And as he pulls this ploy of activating the water sprinklers in the room that they're in, he says, "I bless this water in the name of Khonshu." And every single one of those of the vampires in that room is treated as if they got hit with holy water, because he is still a priest. it it is a case of holy water just needs to be blessed by a god, period, and it still works.
I don't know about that. Again, because and maybe it's because it was like our concept of vampires are so rooted in the like Christian sensibility of like good and evil. I don't like any god could beat a vampire, really? Like Marduk could beat a vampire? Like
I'm willing to go with it
Ares
for
would
that
kill a
particular.
vampire?
I'm willing to go with it for that particular story because of how it was set up and the fact that the head vampire tutor was warned, don't pick a fight with Moon Knight because he is going to wreck you and everything you have. If you.
At least, I mean, like I do like Moon Knight,
Mm-hmm.
so I guess I'd be fine with it for
Yeah.
Moon Knight, just because that's the vibe of that comic. But like, I don't know, man. I've gotten to a point where I'm like, okay, can we please stop subverting things? Can we just play them straight for a while? I
Yeah.
have my sense of dramatic irony has been utterly crushed by like literally everyone of my generation stampeding to subvert the latest thing. And it's like, guys, it's not fresh.
Yeah.
20 years we've been doing this. Can we please do something else for a while? Can we please have some sincerity?
Mm-hmm.
Like, please.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Now,
okay, yes.
getting
Conchu, goofy stuff. Yes,
mhm.
yes. Let's move on.
Plus, it would also make sense that a god of the moon would have a particular beef with vampires. Because do you remember Khonshu's aspects?
He had like 5 of them.
Yep.
Like,
Pathfinder, Defender, Embracer, Watcher of Overnight Travelers, and the one who lives on hearts.
God, was it actually literally 5? I was just
Yes.
guessing. Nailed it. Praise Conchu.
Ah. But getting back on the rails, we have an entire stat set up just for Ishmael and the Man of Shadow. As we mentioned that the Shadowed Man is the exiled overlord, the one who because he um chose to have relationships proper with humanity. He was punished by the Ophidian. To at first he was going to be just outright killed, but it was brought down to, okay, you're locked out of anathema and you have to live among humans now,
Hmm.
which he's become perfectly fine with doing that. He doesn't have a high opinion of the other overlords because none of them spoke up in his defense.
Oh man, you know what? I would take the deal and live amongst mortals just so I could plot the world's greatest revenge. Like at that point, I'm like, oh really? None of you? Oh, you don't even
And
know what mortals are capable of.
he views it he views himself as the idea that humanity and Earth is his territory, and he is not keen on someone else marching in on his turf.
Yeah.
But he doesn't want to be seen as a emperor or king or a public ruler. Uh, and instead of avatars, he has costumes, which are described as beings tailored to his needs to perform duties both in and outside the anathema. He makes them from human corpses, imbuing them with a degree of intelligence, and can be created in the image of any individual that that particular shard has met. And he has used this to pull some tactical fuckery by creating replicas of other immortals.
Fun as hell. Again, what a wonderful threat to have looming within your game somewhere. Um, these are these. Here's a thing that I'm consistently bowled over by this game for. I love that they clearly thought of something that would actually be fun to include within games, right? Not just like one thing that will do one thing, but like something that is designed to like enhance, generate, and otherwise riff on your ideas. Like these are idea enhancing elements, and there's so many of them. This book is utterly packed with them.
Mm-hmm. Oh
It's
yeah.
brilliant. This is how you write a role playing game, folks.
Mm-hmm. Um, we also go into a bit of human adversaries, whether it be regular humans or hopeless, um, or things like what a standard Knight of Avalon would look like versus a Knight of Darkness.
Ooh.
Uh, as well as things like the Nodachi, as well as the various forces in Japan. Nodachi do have meta soldiers, but they're just using combat exoskeletons, not full-on meta armors. Something that I do like is that each monster entry has a tactics showing, okay, this is who this entry is going to consider a priority target, or this is how they're going to be typically used in an encounter.
I like that a lot too. I'm always a huge fan of like notes that give you like stage directions, for lack of a better term.
Yeah, like for example, the Cyber Ninja, it says, Cyber Ninjas are infiltrators and kamikaze bombers. They concentrate their assault on a single enemy at a time, usually one with a high aggression or combat score, and try to neutralize them as fast as possible. Once they suffer too much damage, they use their kamikaze ability.
I like that.
Which...
Because again, it tells you precisely what you're in for, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I love that. And like, it's one of those things. And again, more modern versions of the Monster Manual do similar things too. But it's one of those things. Like, it's such a beautiful quality of life, you know, thing to have in a book. You know, here's a bad guy, and here's some ways that they could be used.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful, and again, so rich.
Oh, yeah. And they do go into the Immortals. And after that, it goes into Arsenal, which we've already covered. So when it comes to the Bestiary, there's a good amount of major and minor threats. I think the only thing that I'd possibly add is just a short list of what threats are at what tier. But that's small potatoes.
Yeah. It's not super obvious from a quick scan, but honestly, like, it's not. Some of the threats are esoteric as hell, and like the wall mask that just shows up and drains your spirit.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's one of those ones where it's like, okay, well, where would you tier that in terms of threat, right? It's not almost not a threat depending on the circumstance, right?
Oh yeah.
Then you've got like just going through mask real quick. You know, obviously the mask swarm and mask slaves aren't super dangerous, but a mask spawn looks pretty mean. You just going by the images, you're like, okay, I can kind of gauge the threat level pretty accurately, I imagine. But the judge, what would you even do, right? The best, I think that the best they could reasonably do is tell you what these guys' modus operandi is and like what their role is and what their goals are. That's about all you. I could imagine trying to tier these in some kind of challenge rating system. Like,
Yeah,
how would you even
they
begin?
don't have a challenge rating system, but they do have a broader tier setup, much like how I have more of a tier
Yeah,
setup instead of numerical scoring.
okay, that's because you don't core XP in challenge ratings, which was always a terrible idea.
Uh, oh, with
Oh,
Legend
excuse
Edition,
me.
I go with milestone instead.
Yeah, well, Milestone's ideal for the kind of game. I know that purists probably don't love that, but I gotta tell you, man, I feel like it's the right move, considering
Um,
how the game actually runs.
if purists want to engage in a one-handed measuring contest, they can do that on their own time.
Yeah, measuring contest.
Um,
Ah,
and even
okay,
then, their Schwartz is still not as big as mine.
let's see how you handle it.
But
Oh, I hate when I get my Schwartz twisted. Okay, so what else we gotta do tonight, Mildred?
so
I got half an hour. Let's do
so
this.
that more or less covers this particular section that I had planned for. We did have
Oh,
to do a bit of
sweet, we did
jumping
it.
because the Bestiary is technically one of the appendices in the book.
This is true, yes, but it's a really robust appendice, and I guess it's appendix when it's like,
Hmm.
but it's really robust.
Oh yeah,
It's a lovely chunky thing.
yep.
Uh,
And next week we'll have our final segment where we're covering adventure settings and then getting into our final thoughts on Night as a whole.
just spoiler alert, I liked it a lot.
Uh, which anyone who's been watching these will probably figure out where I stand on Night, but tradition is tradition.
Tradition is tradition.
Yep. I will note. Um, in 2 weeks we'll be doing the one shot. I may switch one of those out so we can cover the Cristania RPG if Doku shows up for that.
Ooh.
Because that recently got translated. It's not a standalone RPG, more of a extension of Lodos Companion, which we did cover, and that's the reason I'd want to at least have Doku on for that. But I will make clear on something. Cristania, i.e. Legend of Cristania and the Legend of the Drifters and all of that, that is not in the same universe as Lodos. The OVA tried to link them together, I guess because of the popularity of Pirates. But the actual novels are just built on a different replay series that Ryo Mizuno was running. So they have the connective tissue of Ryo Mizuno being involved with it, but that's as far as it goes. And there it is possible to jump from one to the other, especially since they're using the same D100 system.
Interesting. I did not know that.
Yeah, which has confused some people about why a Lodos based game would use a percentile system.
I
A big
always
reason.
felt like Lodos kind of lent itself to that level of granularity, though.
Um, Lodos Companion was a way to try and bring people who had already played the Lodos PC game into TTRPGs,
Okay.
which is why it ran alongside Sword World for the longest time, because they were serving different audiences.
Yeah, makes sense.
Um,
I need to read through my translated copy of Sword World
um,
to see what the Japanese were up to in the TTRPG space.
well, I've been covering that for a while. I've and of course I will bury the lead in the fact that the Sword World podcast will be returning on Sunday. This
That's an
time,
extremely buried lead.
yeah. Well, it's not like it's not like I hadn't planned it that way or anything for weeks, but I know that one of the games that we'll end up covering in a couple weeks during that one shot is going to be Gravity Rip.
Hmm.
which feels very F-Zero influenced.
That sounds cool as hell.
So
I'm not gonna lie.
So that'll be something to look forward to in a couple weeks, and of course we'll be wrapping up Night next week. So until then, on behalf of the good brothers present and not present, my name is Mildra. I am your gaming monk. Stay fucking frosty, everybody.